born ready. Girl at my place, and you know that she's sweaty.
What up, Monday morning blues? Me and Colby are here. Do we even fucking go in? Fuck it. We're not even gonna go into it, man. So everybody, hey, good morning, good
What's
vibes.
godly new
New York. I
New
don't know.
York?
I don't know where I got this sweatshirt from, but I kind
From
of
this
like it.
section, it looked like realtor at first, and I'm like, who the hell is godly
Yeah. At
realtor?
first, I thought I've always thought it said Godly Network, and so I was like, some church shit. But yeah, I don't know what is Godly New York, and then Kimes Ranch. What's going on here? Was repping the brands. Colby's got the Dude Comedy sweatshirt on. I hadn't worn mine forever, and then I wore it this last weekend. Then I see Colby wearing it, and I thought he took mine. Khabib, complete annihilation of Conor McGregor.
Not even completely annihilation is a great way to put it. I think Connor had a window of about 20 seconds where wouldn't even say control, but he had his window. And
Yeah.
other than that, dude, it was. But again, we talked about this. We were together, but he was out like no one thought he was gonna win.
No, I 100%. If I was a betting man,
I wanted him to.
yeah, I was rooting for McGregor. But if I was
Yeah.
a betting man, which I am not, I would have put all my money on Khabib just because. So like I was saying, like I said, Connor basically had a round and a half would be his only window, but it's just the fight was just a terrible fight for Connor. Like he's not. I mean, people will be like, "No, you'd be surprised on his wrestling," but like
No, we
like
weren't.
I know, but that's like all like the pre. I was watching like the Joe Rogan podcast with who the fuck?
Shop, whatever.
Yeah, with whatever his name is. Yeah, and they're just like you'd be surprised on how good he is on the ground. Like he's not good on the ground versus like a world class wrestler, you know. But I was hoping with Khabib being so pissed off that he would fight like he did against Alaquinta because Alaquinta he stood up the whole time and didn't even try to take him down because he wanted. I'm sure Dana White was like, "Hey, like this is what we got. Like make it entertaining," type of thing. I'm sure he whispered that in his ear because you want. It's just more entertaining for the
Mediocre fans.
yeah the mediocre fan to watch stand up and fight it, which I would say even hardcore fans like that's more entertaining. Like people George St. Pierre like he's an amazing fucking fighter, but he never. I mean, he still is a big name, but he never was like Conor McGregor big name because Conor knocks people out
And has the marketability too.
Yeah, exactly. And GSP is he's more of a wrestler. I'm sure he does knock people out, but nothing like McGregor has. But yeah, Khabib, and then the after fight stuff was.
Well, let's get into that. So let's go back. I want to go back a second. So we're talking about how, I mean, we watch. You watch more than I. You don't miss a pay per view. If it's on, you buy it.
Yes,
I'll
if there's a
stream a lot.
decent fight for the
Yeah, but we're not like turning on Friday fight nights unless it's like Paige is on Fox type stuff. So, but I still think that we are, mediocre, above average like fans. So I want to before we get into what happened, I want to say the arguments that people have inside of certain it's not like communities inside it's almost like fandoms like, oh, I'm a bigger fan than you.
yeah.
It's so weird that like I can like the UFC. I don't really have like a favorite or anything like that. I can like it. I can like certain styles of it, but by like saying one thing, and I'm way higher. Like I watch way more than 90% of the people out there. But then there's that 10% that's just like, well, do you understand why that happened? Like why? I'm like, no, I don't, and I don't care. And that's this when we get into what Khabib did afterwards and how it's like a stain. I think it made, if anything,
it was way better.
Want to watch more? Yeah,
because that's why they are gonna have a rematch. But the thing that was so my biggest pet peeve when fighters are not necessarily a pet peeve. It is like respectful, but like they'll fucking talk so much shit. Like honest, like McGregor will talk so much fucking shit about everything. He was talking shit about his dad, because Khabib's dad couldn't get a visa or he couldn't get access to the country to be able to watch the fight.
Yeah.
And then he'll talk shit about his religion, Allah, all this shit, right? But then then the fight's over and they all fucking hug and shit. Like he didn't say like it's like kind of like some like elementary school type stuff. You know, it's like you know, you're just talking all this shit and you're like, oh, I just did that because the fight. Like, no, you talked real life fucking shit. Like after you beat him, like you don't shake hands when he's like. I mean, if it's like a professional, like cordial fight, like you shake hands and shit. Even if there's like a little shit talking, like me and Colby were talking tons of shit as we were getting our asses whooped in flag football this last Saturday. But once the game was over, I went up to the dude. I'm like, good shit, man, and he did the same exact thing. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't. He was a massive douchebag, and we'll talk about that after this. But
I'll make a note.
Yeah, he was a massive douchebag, but I didn't like. The heat of competition, you talk shit. We didn't talk shit with them. If we talked tons of shit with them leading into the game and stuff, I wouldn't have shook their hand after the game. Because if I'm talking shit outside of competition, that means I don't like you. You know, and I get it. You got to sell fights and all this and that. But
that shark.
But that's what I liked about Khabib. Khabib, like while he was choking him out and he was still holding on to him, was talking shit. When he got lifted off of him, was still talking shit. And then, you know, all the people on McGregor's side that were talking shit, fucking, he went after.
Yeah. Okay, so let's break it down. Let's peel the onion back real quick. So this also just a side note. House of Highlights, huge Instagram page. If you're a sports fan and have Instagram, there's no way you don't follow House of Highlights. I don't know how they're allowed to freeboot all of the sports stuff that they do, but it's the biggest sports page by. I mean, it gets more views than Bleacher Report.
They probably have some form of licensing.
I think Bleacher Report might have bought them, actually. So House of Highlights, they post the Twitter video of the fan view of Khabib jumping over, and the guy who owns it was like the top comment on Instagram, and it said, in 20 minutes, this video has 700,000 views, making it the most viewed, like, you know, under an hour House of Highlights history, and on pace to be the most, like, watched video of all time. When I went back and looked at it, it had 6 million views on Instagram. That's insane. Jeez. So what happened if you didn't watch?
After it got 700,000 in 20 minutes?
Well, I think at that point he posted like 6 more like versions.
Oh, that's right. Everybody's okay. I got it.
Yeah, he posted different angles and stuff. So if you missed it, like Kyle was saying, after he chokes him out, he jumps in the crowd like some WWE.
Technically, it wasn't choke. It was a neck crank. It wasn't even choking him out. He had his arm over his chin. It wasn't a choke out, but he was like, they call it a neck crank because he's just like cranking his neck back, which looked painful.
Yeah. So then he jumps. So he jumps So first of all, he bypasses 2 security guards. Kind of weird. Like guys kind of holding him back, and then they just kind of let him go. He jumps on the cage, then jumps over the cage, and then literally like running crane kicks into the crowd and starts beating the shit out of a guy. Then that's when all hell is breaking loose there. And then on our screen, we're kind of like, so we're at Kyle's house. We're just like, what the, like, this is not real.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you see this guy climb the cage and sucker punch McGregor. We'll get into what happened, like, really, but like all of a sudden this guy you see him sucker punch McGregor, then McGregor throws 2 punches, and you're just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it was complete chaos, but it was and we were all just sitting there like, what is going on, you know?
It didn't seem real.
Yeah, but then everybody was like, oh my god, like that dude that we thought that the dude that jumped over was like the biggest pussy ass bitch
ever.
But
then the other angle came out.
But I mean, that still doesn't justify this dude running up behind him and punching him in the back of the head. But McGregor, he jumped up on the fence, and same with a dude from Khabib's team. And while they're on the fence, Conor punched the dude in the face, which was a different angle that came out. And then they kind of both were in the ring, kind of like had to be held back. But that still doesn't justify the fucking coward that just runs in and jumps and punches McGregor in the back of the head. Because even when McGregor hit the dude, they were like face to face, like looking at each. I mean, it was still kind of a weird punch, but they probably will have a rematch. But I'm not like it's gonna be the same exact thing. Like,
it's tough to get.
If I was McGregor, all I would say is, I would talk tons of shit to him and say, like, I bet you can't knock me out. Bet you can't knock, like, that's all I would say, because you want to motivate him to actually stand and fight with you.
Box me.
Khabib won, I think this was before he got choked out. He did. McGregor fell. He didn't look like he was dazed or anything. So it was still, he got dropped by a pretty big right hand to the face. But it wasn't like one of those ones where he was like fighting to like like not be completely knocked out. Like he got rocked for sure, but it wasn't like where he, it was he got fucking smashed. But the Khabib dude is just insane. I was watching the Joe Rogan stuff. He's just like he still lives with his like parents and shit, and like his wife and kid. Like it's just like he's Russian, right?
Yeah. I want to go to his apology. We don't know what the sanctions are going to be. It's probably all of this going to be fake. Hold his check, suspended for 5 months, whatever. It's all. I mean, UFC is
Strip
just a
the
crock of
title
shit.
so that they can
Fight for it again. I mean, John Jones has gotten 9 chances, so this gets by no means is he going to have any real consequences here. But his apology kind of not. I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way because I have nothing invested to it, but it was kind of like a cop out bullshit apology when he was like,
I liked it because it was like he stuck to his fucking guns. He's like, did you not hear that shit? He fucking talked shit about my religion, this and that. He basically was like, sorry, but fuck you,
I just didn't like how he was like, why are you just no one talking about what he did? It's like, well,
because that's I mean, I when he said that, I'm like, well, that's just what fighters do, It's like that's just what that's like how you sell fights. That's why McGregor is like the most paid UFC fighter, because that's like how they sell fights. But yeah, it was just, but it's also like the hard, like he's just like speaking broken English, so it's kind of it's hard. He seems he seems just like a cool, like likable dude.
I want to go to. I wrote a note when you said something here. So Rogan, big Joe Rogan fan. I'm a big Rogan fan. He always seems to say the same thing, which is this guy is arguably the best pound for pound at this weight, of our time.
Yeah,
but I feel like
they say that about like
everybody. Mighty Mouse, he says it about Cormier. He says it about He said it about Silva. He says it about this guy now. I just noticed it last time, and I was like, man, how many people is he gonna?
Yeah, I mean, like Mighty Mouse for sure until he lost, but like this is like one of the only dudes like with literally no losses, like never at any level or anything has lost a fight. And so he actually deserves, like he's a fucking bear with no fur. Like that's what he looks like. Just super long arms. Like even though they were the same weight, like he was way like even they're almost the same height, but he seemed way bigger than McGregor. But it was like, I don't know why they got so jacked. I mean, I know it's his weight class. I don't know why they got so jacked about this fight. The whole time they talked about it, I'm like, fuck, he's going to get his ass whooped because it's not even the right type of fight for him. Like, McGregor versus strikers, I would watch that any day over him versus, like, a wrestler. Like, see, even Diaz, though, is more, like, he wrestles a bunch, too. And that's how he won that first fight. But at least, and that was just like people always go back to that fight, but like even that to me, McGregor was fighting a huge fucking guy that he went up to fight him, right?
Yeah, he went up. I think it went up a lot. I think,
and it wasn't for any belt or anything.
No, it's because he was talking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like when it's just like him striker versus striker. Like I would love to see him fight Aldo again. Like that would be the best. Like to me, that would get me fucking going because they're not going to sit there and they're actually going to sit there and fight each other, and somebody 100% is going to get knocked out.
I think I said this last time we talked about the UFC, but I feel like they're in a tough spot right now with their identity. And again, I'm not an expert on this, but I watched a lot of wrestling as a kid. Even got back into it a little bit after. But I feel like what makes the WWE so evergreen, everlasting is they can develop these new superstars enough that they can, keep pulling a big audience. But with UFC, again, I don't watch as much like to all the little fight shows or any of the Fridays and watch these guys up and coming. But I feel like their top tier talent might be as competitive as ever, but the name factors is really wearing off. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the big name guys they have left, John Jones coming back and Lesnar, people are like, oh, I didn't want to see him fight again, but you have to.
Oh,
because if you don't put him on a card, like you can't put what's the black dude that won? Who's the number 2 seed, and then
Woodley?
He won and took off his Woodley, and then there's another guy, and they promote fights that are just not exciting.
Yeah, no.
But they're great fighters. Even Steep's a great fighter, but he's just like he's not going to go McGregor somebody. And
so like the boom for the UFC for me was like Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson, like maybe like Tito Ortiz, and then who was the 40-year-old dude? It was Anderson Silva. But they're all dudes that like nothing that they said necessarily made them likable. Like but they're still characters in their own. Like they were still just like unique guys. Who's the older dude? Why can't I think of his name?
Shamrock?
No.
No, I know it's not what it is.
Fucking he was during like the Chuck Liddell. He was the heavyweight guy. He was like 40, a white dude. Why the fuck he ended up doing some movies and stuff.
You said Tito Ortiz already.
Yeah, no, it's not Tito Ortiz. Randy something.
Oh, Randy Couture.
Yeah. So like that dude. I mean, they were just kind of, and then even another fight that got on the map was like Forrest Griffin and the Stephan Bonner or whatever. Like those dudes, like Forrest Griffin, he's an entertaining dude, but like they were actually like just straight entertaining fighters, and that's what's amazing about McGregor is like he's entertaining in real life, whether you like him or you hate him. Like it's gonna be like polarizing, but he's an entertaining fighter as well. But it seems like Anderson Silva, like he was really fucking good. Like he didn't even speak English, and you liked the guy just because he like the way he fought and stuff like that. But I don't think they necessarily like. Now you got people, they know that they know what it takes, but then you got just like a lot of fucking idiots that just attempt to do the McGregor stuff. Who is the dude that always wears like the aviators, and I mean just there's like a handful of dudes like that are just like. They think they're like McGregor status, but like McGregor's just a really intelligent dude. Like these guys are fucking retarded trying to like talk shit like McGregor.
Yeah.
And then,
I think it comes with like it's like the problem is they can't. You got to promote the fight, and if it's not in your character to be like, if it was me and you, we'd just be like, all right, we're just got to show up here, talk a little bit, but like. These guys are thrust into this like, okay, if you don't go promote this, it's not going to sell as much. You're not going to go get paid. So that's why they probably throw the aviators on. But that's not like
the dude's name is Colby Covington. Or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
But the thing is like you can't like. I get why. There was a guy that fought. I want to say he fought Woodley, and he was doing the same type of stuff and. He was trying so hard, but then in the end, when it got to the fight, it was just embarrassing. He just got destroyed. But it's almost like I rooted so much against him because he was being such a douche.
Yeah, it's interesting time. What the fuck is this?
Oh, it's a call. Put it through.
No, it's what are they showing me here? Your appears to me is please update so promptly you can enjoy. So it's just some phishing email. Click your Amazon thing to verify now. Stop phishing me.
Hey, you know what the best phishing scam of all time is? MySpace. What they did, MySpace had custom HTML, right? So I can go in there right now and customize my page with custom HTML. Duh. Well, you know what else has custom HTML? Their login page. So you could go in, take their login page, take the entire HTML code, paste it on your own browser. Back then, domains were nothing, so you could go get like MySpace with like MySpace with 2es.com. Then you would post something and redirect it, and they'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not logged in," and then they would click it, type in their password, phishing 101, done.
We'd be able to get so many passwords and stuff, but what would we do with them?
Well, I think most people back then they would take them and then hope that they could go log into like
something else.
Because I mean, I don't even think mobile banking was a thing then with MySpace.
Yeah. It's because like back in the day, you only needed like one password for like one thing. Now there's just so many fucking apps and stuff. I cycled through like 6 passwords that I've like used on some stuff that I can't get logged in, like just different variations,
Yeah, back in the day, my like password was just B-ball, BBALL, like for everything. That's so unsecure.
Yeah, mine's weird because I don't even know why the fuck I had. Like it's just like it's just like a weird name. Like I don't even know why. Like it has nothing to do with me. I just literally just out of nowhere was like, whatever, fuck it. Like it needs to be 6 characters long. Fuck it. Let's talk about the dudes from flag football, and let's set this up properly so we don't look like douchebags. So me and Colby, we play flag football every Saturday. There we play like 8 games a season, and it just started like a month ago. And there's this new team in the league, and we know they're fucking good. They're super good. And the way that we kind of like to take this flag football league, and we've seen people take different routes to do it. We don't like it's just a bullshit league out in the middle of nowhere. Like we don't like to take it like we take it seriously enough where we try to win the game, but we don't fucking run 2-a-day practices in a 6-inch thick playbook to play. Like, we show up just to play basically for fun, even though it is competitive. We do try hard to win. Now there's these teams that like I just described will have fucking, like the team we played, like they had like a 10-page pamphlet of plays that they run, and they sit there,
index card.
They run a huddle every single play. Super, like I go out to play to get as many plays in as possible. So when we're on defense and somebody fucking takes 45 seconds a pop and runs a play clock down on every single play, like I consider that team a fucking douchebag. Now, if it's a more serious league where actually something is on the line besides a fucking cum rag t-shirt, then okay, take it a little bit more serious. I actually play on a different team in downtown Seattle that takes it a little more serious, but we only have like 6 plays because it is easier to play when you know where somebody's going and whatnot. But I would also argue that everybody in this league takes it more serious and runs plays and stuff like that. But this league isn't that serious. So there's this new team. They've been just fucking people up. They've been playing with each other for the last like 10 years. Like the ref in our game was like, holy shit, like those dudes were old 15 years ago when I used to play with them. I'm like,
so that's key to the story, by the way.
Yeah.
That's key to the story.
Yeah.
About
so
how long they've been playing.
So we basically start playing them, and we got into the third quarter down by, I think, 1 score, and then our quarterback threw just a retarded interception, which is whatever. They're good, you know, so whatever. But we ended up losing pretty bad in the end once the game was out of hand, you know. So there's 3 minutes on the clock. We just turned it over on downs or something, and I asked a dude on their team who's just kind of like a white gangster dude, and I'm like, are you guys gonna kneel it? And he goes, no, why would we do that? And I mean, they take 45 seconds of fucking play anyway, trying to burn the clock. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm like, and I was being like kind of a smart ass, but at the same time I was serious. I was like, oh, it just seemed like something you guys would do. And he goes, or what did he say? He goes, oh, yeah, that's right. He goes, after I said, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I go, I don't know. It just seemed like something you guys would do. And he goes, I see what you did there. Nice play on words. And I'm like.
Then he started talking like really loud, like, hey, so we're going to kneel it. We're a bunch of kneelers. And I was like, what is going on?
Well, his first thing, he said, nice play on words. Like that's when I'm like, okay, we're talking to a retard, because there was no like fucking trickery in what I said. I was literally like, oh, it just seemed like something you guys would do to kneel it. And he goes, oh, I see what you did there. And he's like, and then he started like vocalizing like, hey, he's like, these guys, he's like, you guys are kneeling already. And I get what he was trying to say, but it wasn't funny at all. Like, you know, like we're kneeling, giving them blowjobs because they're beating us so bad. But he just
called us Neil and Bob.
Yeah, and then he looks at me and goes, your name's Bob. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
and he pointed at me and he goes, Neil and Bob.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of get the elementary school joke, like I'm bobbing my head, but you would, that doesn't make sense. You would be Neil and Bob, because you would be kneeling and bobbing your head if you're giving a blowjob. So he was saying that Colby would be kneeling in the person, so Colby would be sucking my dick, and why would I be bobbing my head? So it's just like, and we're just kind of like,
we only had like 30 seconds to break this and process it down in the moments. We're both just like, what?
Yeah. And so I'm just like, what in the fuck? So actually the very next play, like he caught the ball, because he was an older dude, not super old. He's probably like mid upper 30s, so not terribly old. But so
he was probably the third oldest of the 3 old guys.
Yeah, he probably aged pretty well.
Yeah.
But so the next play, like he caught it, and I fucking kneed him in the thigh so hard. Like I didn't even feel it. Like it was such like a flush knee. I didn't necessarily mean to. I was just trying to body him up, just let him know. But then he just out of nowhere, like he played center and like really didn't do anything the whole game. But then he thought he was fucking like Antonio Brown out there. And
he called his own play.
Yeah.
And I knew it was coming. And to be a dick, I walked away from guarding him purposely, and then he was like, "Oh, they're already giving up," and I go, "Yep, we don't have a 40-point play in our playbook."
Yeah. Well, so they scored, and then they had the extra point, and I was just like, what the like? I mean, it was obviously a little petty, but I didn't care. Like, what? Like, why are we gonna? Like, they literally huddled up for an extra point, up by 20.
20 at that point, yeah.
Was it 20?
At least 3 scores.
Yeah. And so I'm like, don't even move. Like, we're not gonna move. Like, we want the ball back so we can try and, end on a good note, type of thing.
Yeah, and then they
He was the only one talking shit.
Well, see, that's the thing is the younger guy. So here's another little background on this league is normally there's not that many good players. Before this game, 4 different people tell us like, "Oh man, wait till you see this guy play. Wait till you see this guy play." And the guy was good. This guy on the other team,
he was good, but there's lots of other dudes in the league.
And he was to have 3 different people say he could have played in the NFL. I didn't think he was that good.
No, fuck. If that dude can play in the NFL, I could. 4 years ago, I could have easily played in the NFL. So I don't think he was good, but
he's 22.
Did Gabe burn him? Yes. Did I kind of burn him and caught it out of bounds and laid out somebody on the sideline? Yeah. I mean, the way he has a lot of interceptions, but the way he kind of played, he just played off and like waited for like the deep ball because we caught it in front of him multiple times. Like he wasn't. He was a great athlete. He was fast. He was black. He was good, but
he was no NFL player. But he kind of started John a little bit after the pick. And he was like, "I told him not to test me." And I go, "Who'd you tell that to?" And then he looked back, and then I think he could tell I was kind of being sarcastic. And I was like, "Maybe next time tell us not to test you then."
Yeah.
And then
what do you? So that was at the end of the game, though.
Yeah,
we had already fucking lit him up multiple times. Like Gabe burnt him deep. We caught like 6 balls in front of him because he just played lazy safety defense. Like.
It was just funny because, I told him not to test me, and I was like, "Who did you tell that to?"
I wish I would have heard that because that was when he caught the interception.
And then that's what started. The other guy started getting more aggressive. I believe is because he heard him saying something. Yeah. And then
it initially started because a dude on their team caught a ball and he juked out me and another guy, and there's nobody behind, and they caught a touchdown. It was one of those things where he caught the ball and we guessed which way he was going to go, and he went the other way and ended up scoring a touchdown. That's when all of them like over celebrated like it was we hadn't juked them out multiple times during the game, and it wasn't like a fucking like ankle breaker, and so they just like over celebrated for already whooping our ass, and that's when I was like, all right, like the game's already over, and you guys, and that's how like they didn't talk shit. But, like, I also hate, like, when people over-celebrate when it's, like, I mean, and that's just from me. Like, I don't necessarily, like, celebrate any touchdown, whether it, unless it's, like, to win the fucking game or something, But.
Yeah, that was weird. It was a whole weird situation. I did have a sweet celebration, though, when that guy was talking, and I caught it, and he was like, "Lucky," and I threw the ball over my head as high as I could.
He said lucky?
Yeah, right as I caught it in the corner. Well, I mean, technically, if you go by what the definition of luck is, it was lucky because it hit the the defender's hand, but he had his hands like this, so it popped it like the opposite way, and then I reached my hands underneath real quick, and
that was like their thing though. Like a dude dropped like a 25-yard pass, and looked at us and goes, "You guys got lucky." I'm just like. What the fuck did we do? You're the one that fucking dropped it. Like
that's the same guy. Yeah,
it was that big dude. Like that's all. I think that's all he knew how to say. You guys got lucky. Like, dude,
big ass dude.
I don't know if like you fucking dropped the ball. Like it's probably something that happens all the time. So the more frequent it happens, it's not necessarily luck. It's just you fucking suck.
Yeah, that was the thing that sucks about this league now is we'll probably go smack up the next 3 teams we play.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into like the playoffs. And if we play the Rodents first,
I think we could beat the Rodents.
Then it's like it's one of those. It's almost like the McGregor fight. We're gonna have a very small window against this team. It's by no. But you look at the last game. I mean, this for the people listening are probably like, why are you guys talking flag football strategy on here? But if you look at the last game, we dropped some picks. And we were within
at least 2 picks from a dude that doesn't drop shit.
And we were within a score Plus, the touchdown that we gave up was kind of a unorthodox play for us to give up. That's not really how we let teams score. It was kind of like a lucky break for them.
Yeah.
So, there's still always an opportunity for any game. I mean, I always look back to we played in a thing called dunk ball back in college. Dunk ball, they lowered the hoops 6 foot and under. You were allowed to play on 8 foot hoops. 6 foot, if you wanted just like a mixed team, it was 8.5 foot hoops. So it was like I could go through the legs and dunk it on these hoops. So we have the 6 foot league gets canceled because only 3 teams sign up. So my boss from intramurals is like, hey, we're going to move you guys all up into the competitive league, even though your team's all 6 foot and under, but I'll give you guys the second game and you can somehow find someone to play. So I'm like, shit, I got to find like a 6 foot and over guy or else we're going to get killed. So we get some guy. Long story short, we make it by just playing just like dicks. We make it to the championship game. The championship game, if you were a sports bettor or if you were a bookie, you would have booked us to we would have been plus 1,000. It was 2 All-American football players, a former basketball player, Nate Rob's brother, and like a 6'7" guy who can dunk on 10-foot hoops versus me, my buddy Cam, Nick Deltos, like a bunch of under 6 foot guys and 1 6'3" guy, Zach Chase.
Oh, he's good to know.
We end up, so we're going back and forth. We get a block, steal dunk. That's worth 3 points. And then on the inbounds, these guys are talking shit. And they throw it to their point guard as these guys are talking shit. Nick Del Tosto dives for the ball, tips it. I dunk it, get pushed, and won. We win the game. Like just start celebrating, run out in the gym. These guys are all fighting each other.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Plus 1,000. No chance in the world we would have won this game. It was just so there's always a chance.
No, I think we could. But then there's also in this flag football game, which I'm a dick when I disagree on the field, and I always look back and be like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have said that." But so there's a play where we were going in. I don't think it was to tie. It wasn't to tie. It was to be within a score, and a deep ball was thrown. I saw it was going to go over my head, but I had a teammate that was back there, so I just stopped in my route and I sat there and I watched it. And the dude caught it, but it was so far away from the refs, and I saw 100% that his foot was out. But I just looked at the ref. I'm like, holy, like that was in. Don't you dare. And he was about to call a touchdown. But then over my shoulder, I see a fucking flag flying in. And I'm like, what in the fuck? And I'm like, well, like, what was the flag for? And the ref is pointing at me, and he's saying offensive pass interference. I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? And I was dropping F, but like, I was fucking pissed. And if you drop F-bombs and stuff, you can easily get a 15-yard flag. But I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, you stopped your route and you boxed him out. I'm like, I didn't fucking touch nobody. What are you talking about? He's like, you were up all over his back. And I literally, right in front of the ref, I asked the dude, the defender, I'm like, did I touch you? And he goes, no. And I'm like, you're fucking lying, ref. Like, he literally just said you didn't touch me. And he's like, don't make this personal now. And I'm like, it is personal because you literally just made bullshit up. And basically that took me out of the game for the whole rest of the game because I couldn't get over the fact that even though we did end up scoring on that drive, but I couldn't get over the fact that he just pulled a flag out of his ass and made up some bullshit. So, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't too fun.
So, yeah, Jimmy and Burns, though, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what they're...
Are they streaming right now?
No, they did this morning.
Have you looked?
Which I can never play. I know I haven't looked since then, but I can never play in the morning because I don't. That's like they start at 7 o'clock our time. That's like when I'm getting breakfast and stuff going for the kid. What am I supposed to do?
Burns. Oh, he's offline.
They played earlier today though because I saw his tweet.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like why didn't they respond to like if they're not streaming?
Well, I think it's I don't think they're gonna do it anymore. I think this is the when we did the last one and posted it in there and nothing really got said and we did it. And then the one before that when it was just me, I think it's pretty clear that they just not. I get Jimmy's. He'll even say it like he'll get here when he can get here. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, but and I'm not saying I get it. If you don't got time to do it, you can't do it. You know, like it's not as. I'm not mad at him or nothing. We gotta establish this because I I'd rather do that than just sit here and be like irritated at shit, you know, like fuck, where are they, you know? Jimmy, I get. Burns, fuck you, because you know you ain't got shit going on, and I know you're not listening to this, so I don't, I don't even care. But it's just, yeah, and like maybe Jimmy can still do the ad stuff for us, but I think we just take it 100% over. And I'm not saying it to be a dick at all. I'm saying it because we're a completely open podcast, and after on Skype, I'm probably gonna say, and I'm gonna say it from a non-dick standpoint. I'm gonna say, hey, both you guys, I know you're busy. You know, but if we continue to, you know, get ad revenue and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't make sense to be like, hey, Burns, here's your 25% for being there 2 times in the last month. Like, you know, and I'm not taking that he's, you know, he streams, and most of the time he streams during the show. So, and I'll probably play with him later and stream with him and be 100% cordial. I'm not mad at anybody, but it's, it just makes it easier. We're like, hey, like this morning we kind of just sat around waiting for somebody to say something. We're just like, all right, well, it's just like it's me and you again, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think me and you can, like, you know, if we have some ideas and we want to do something different, then we go ahead and do something different, and we don't have to fucking, you know, line it up with anybody else.
It is kind of funny that it started as a joke when he was like, let's just call Jimmy the guest every time he's on. And now, like, within 4 episodes, it's literally become nothing. Like, yeah, it just happens so quick.
I mean, so there's a couple things. Like, it's either, so for me, like, we don't make much money from the show, but I just enjoy it. Like, I enjoy, like, talking, getting shit off my chest. And I mean, it's twice a week, 2 hours a week, nothing crazy. And, like, especially,
and people tell us it's fun.
Yeah, especially when I start getting into, like, this new product that it's almost ready. Like, just kind of, like, talking about, like, the process of it when I can finally kind of talk more about it, and, like, the game that's coming out that I mean, I'm not gonna, like, the game that comes out, even if 10,000 people that listen to this download all at once, that's awesome, but we're shooting for fucking 10,000 a day type stuff. So I wouldn't be sitting here like just promoting it. I'm just kind of like talking about the process. Like, I think you guys would think that was cool. Like, you see all these games and apps all the time. Like, wouldn't that be cool to have insight information on like shit, like behind the scenes on like how things work? I think that's a cool concept to talk about, you know? So, like, I just enjoy, ooh. Colby's holding Red Bulls, but that I think I just enjoy doing it, and I get from Jimmy's standpoint, like, it has to make sense, you know, monetary wise. I get that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yes, and I think more than monetary for him too is he's on a different schedule than anyone else I've ever met.
Yeah. So it's
even if it was making a decent amount of money, I feel like squeezing in an entire hour, which people are going to be like, it's just an hour. That dude doesn't have an hour. I mean, if he does, it's like mapped out to like do personal, like fun stuff until nighttime and stuff like that. But
yeah, no, exactly. Oops. So it's not like an upset thing, but it's like we can't just keep me and you coming on here and sitting there being like, I don't know where the fuck they are. Like,
I think our last show did good on YouTube.
Yeah, I think so too. But we can't just like so now, like, I think me and you would be good at like actually going to, you know, doing like one guest a week or one guest every couple weeks, get them on here, you know, just like we kind of did that before, and kind of switching it up a little bit rather than having hosts of the show actually be the guest, you know, like what if we couldn't do it today? There would be literally just be no show because we can't. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not mad at them. This is a very transparent show. It's just we need some stability.
Pretty good comments. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time reading it, but everyone's hyping us up, man. That's always pretty good.
Yeah, no, and we're beating the dead horse or whatever, like just saying like we're gonna do it ourselves. We just need to do it ourselves.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing that like it's always just misleading to people is, well, they stopped doing it when it stopped making money. Well, you know, not really. It had Jimmy was still 50-50 when it was we were still making money on the podcast.
No, we just made. I mean, we just made money that's been the same amount of money we've made.
So don't blame him or don't. It's not that. It's definitely not because of the monetariness.
Yeah. No.
I also do think that because I went to dinner with some people who I hadn't seen in actually like 10 years. And I was like, oh yeah, I do a podcast with some buddies twice a week. And both of them were like, oh man, dude, I've always wanted to start a podcast. There's so much money in that. And I waited a second, and then they're like, the other guy was like, yeah, dude, I bet you people are making like, $10,000-$15,000 an episode. And I was like, well, if you're like you could say that about everything on the internet.
Yeah,
you can make a lot of money on YouTube if you're PewDiePie and those dudes, but like if you go
even YouTube nowadays is fucked, even for big dudes.
But even like if nothing against these two dudes, but like let's say they go and they make their podcast and they tell their 40, 50, 60 friends to go listen to it, like you're not going to be Joe Rogan overnight.
Yeah,
you can't go into it think you're going to get 15 grand.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we took it with this. We're like, all right, well, we know, like, we're new to podcasts, like there is money in them, like, but it's not straight out of the gate, like. And what are we on, like the 180
today?
Yeah. So it's like, I mean,
Zeke Elliott sweatshirt time.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not mad or nothing, but there's got to be that breaking point where it's like, all right, guys, this ain't working. Like, I enjoy doing the podcast. I don't do it for the few $100 that it makes a month. I just enjoy doing it. It's something that I can, fucking vent on, like fuck these guys at flag football, fuck the UFC, like whatever I want to say. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can say fucking retard, faggot, douche. I can literally say whatever the fuck I want that I don't necessarily say. Like, I'll never go on my Facebook and be like, what up, you faggot tool douche? Like, I'm gonna get in trouble. I ain't gonna get in trouble on here because one, there's no ad in this episode, which would be the only shot that I could possibly get in trouble. But even if there was an ad, the people who posted the ad aren't listening. So I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, we proved
you
that,
might not like
right?
it. I mean, you could like it. You could not. Like, I've said things before that people have got upset about that were a joke. Like, fuck Mexicans. Like, do you really think I truly stand by fuck Mexicans? No. I can say what I want, and I should have no repercussions unless I'm truly a fucking dick about something. And if you disagree, like, I was kind of like thinking this the other day, like I'm a fairly.
Hey, this is a good rant. Do you need me for this rant? I gotta pee.
No, I gotta pee too, but like.
Okay, no, you go.
No, you're good.
Talk. Yeah, you talk. I'm gonna go pee, then I'll come back.
Okay. So like I would consider myself being like a fairly reasonable person. If somebody even disagrees with me, I'm not gonna be like, fuck you disagree with me. I'd be like, oh cool, like whatever. I still like you. I'm a fairly reasonable person. But sometimes when I throw on this like dick, like the dudes at flag football probably were done like after the game, like that guy was such a fucking douche. But I swear, like if we ever met, like see each other at the bar or something, I'm gonna be a cool dude. Like when we played like intramurals and like pickup basketball in college, like I would be a dick on the court just because that was like my personality when I played. Not necessarily a dick, but if you like disagreed with something and I disagreed with what you said, I'd be like, fuck you. Like, you're making the shit up. Like, fuck you. I don't like you. Like, but then it was over once the game was over. And I see that person at the bar be like, dude, I was totally like, I'm sorry, heat of competition. Like, sorry, man. Like, I'm a fairly reasonable guy. So if I hurt your feelings on here, just know that if you come to me in like a message to say that I hurt your feelings, like, come at me in a reasonable manner, because I'm most likely going to be like, cool, yeah, I shouldn't have. Like the dude who, when I said I hate Mexicans, which was obviously a joke, like he came at me, he was like, fuck you, I watched your shit forever, fuck you, like this and that. I'm like, I know you're upset right now, buddy, but I was 100%, I forgot to say I was joking, but it definitely wasn't a joke. And if you have followed me for this long, you know I don't say serious stuff like that. Like, if I really hated Mexicans, do you think I would fucking say it? I wouldn't. Which, I don't hate Mexicans, but you see what I'm saying there? All right, Colby, I gotta pee.
Yeah, I drank however many, does it say how many ounces this is on here? It's probably about, here we go. So this right here, this cup is 16 ounces. So this fits in probably about 20 ounces of water I drank, and 8.4 fluid ounces of Vitalized Body and Mind with taurine lightly carbonated Red Bull sugar free. yeah, I drank all that while I was sitting here and couldn't make it any longer. Man, it's kind of that's not fair. He left when he had a train of thought going on. I'm just here going off the top of my head with nothing in my head. I already used most of my stuff. Oh, I do. So everyone listening, if you live in LA, this is something international. I probably should wait for Kyle to get back on here before I bring it up, but it's about Elon Musk and rockets. And last night there was a bunch of people posting Instagram stories, Twitter stories, like what the hell's going on up here? And it was Elon Musk. Okay. Hey, I was about to tell you this, but I guess I need a reaction. It's something I wrote down. I actually want to talk about. So Elon Musk, right, with the rocket last night.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
In California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most people haven't heard about it, especially living in California. It's crazy. So two parts I want to talk about on this. First one, news, right? Something like this you'd probably hear about on the news back in the day. Hey, if you see something over your house, it's not a UFO. It's Elon Musk launching a rocket, right? Most people don't watch the news anymore. So where would someone like me, who's on the internet all the time and had no idea, I'm watching a video, I'm like, damn, is that a UFO? What the hell is that? Then I go on today and I'm like, oh, breaking. People didn't know that it was Elon Musk launching his rocket, which was SpaceX rocket leaving atmosphere. And that's what created the cloud that everyone's freaking out about. So I get that, right? But here's my question. We just trust this guy? Like, it's allowed to just launch a rocket nowadays, like just for fun in the middle of the night? Like, I'm so confused.
I mean, no, it was a full blown out long process to make that happen. I mean, it wasn't like he just decided to do that. Like, he went through the full legal process and permit process and all this stuff, I would assume.
Oh no, I get that part, but isn't it just kind of crazy that you'll just wake up one day and be like, oh, Elon Musk launched a rocket in the middle of the night.
See, I follow more of that stuff because that stuff gets me going. But what's crazy to me is people don't think it's that cool. It wasn't everywhere on the news because it doesn't really excite people. When we first landed on the moon, that was fucking everywhere. Everybody knew about the shit. And there's a movie coming out with Neil Armstrong as well. But with Ryan Gosling, oh my god, he's my fucking man crush.
Dude, that guy's awesome.
Yeah, but basically, I just can't believe people are more into politics and shit to argue over rather than cool shit. And I think that's the problem with I mean, there are always going to be smart people, but we don't promote that it's cool to be smart. Smart people are just going to be smart people, but we don't we promote, be a fucking jackass on Instagram over
rapper.
Yeah, over than hey, let's see how good an education you can get. And it's always been like that. For me, I was just fuck, I just want high school to be over with. I got good grades, but
I got Elon Musk's Wikipedia up here. He's a billionaire. I always wondered what his process was, right? I'm going to go through it really quick.
He's just such a cool guy, but he Wall Street, for some reason people don't like him because he just does things differently than
he's different.
Other people.
Oh my gosh, his net worth is 19.8 billion. He's the 46th richest person in the world right now. 19.8 billion. So Musk taught himself
PayPal, correct?
I think so. Hold on, let's see. So Musk taught himself computer programming at 10, moved to Canada at 17. 2 years later, went to a different university, got a PhD in applied physics and material science at Stanford in 95, but dropped out 2 days later to pursue an entrepreneurial career. Co-founded Zip2, a web software company which was acquired by Compaq. Remember Compaq Computers?
Yeah.
For $340 million in 99. He then founded X.com, an online bank. It merged with Confinity in 2000. And then later became PayPal, which was bought by eBay for $1.5 billion in 2002. In 2002, he founded SpaceX. He was the CEO and lead designer, which then helped fund Tesla, which obviously you know what Tesla is. In 2003, he became the CEO of that as well. And in 2006, he created Solar City, a solar energy service company that is now a subsidiary of Tesla. He operates as the chairman there. And in 2015, he co-founded OpenAI. He also, in December 2016, founded the Boring Company, an infrastructure and tunnel construction company.
So basically,
Damn, dude.
The majority of his wealth is probably in shares of Tesla, I would guess.
It's I think SpaceX and Tesla. Well, so okay,
No, PayPal's probably a publicly traded company.
I wonder what his buyout was. So it says it was bought by eBay at 1.5. So I wonder if he like stuck around and kept like shares in it, or if he just took like
because 19 billion. Like, I wonder if it's just like equity in Tesla, because that's like what I would. That's like SpaceX probably isn't publicly traded.
Oh, okay. So I can go down here. I can scroll down here. So Compaq acquired Zip2 for 307 in cash and 34 million in stock options, where Musk received 22 million of it and 7% share of the company. So for PayPal, let me go on to PayPal. Musk was 2000 CEO due to disagreements in the company. In October, he was okay. 1. Okay, so Musk received $165 million in the PayPal deal, and he was the largest shareholder also at the time at 11.7. So assuming he took the 165 million and kept the 11% shares, that's probably a lot of his money at that time.
Huh.
It's kind of crazy that Wikipedia has all that on here. Like, I can literally see like.
But can't you edit that?
Yeah, but I think a lot of the stuff, like when you edit it now, goes through like channels to like almost like a Reddit thing.
Remember, it used to be like a joke about Wikipedia, but now it's like not a joke.
Best source.
Yeah.
Oh, in college, it was like you fail if you use Wikipedia, but nowadays it's like I don't trust anything unless it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that works.
Well, so that's like Google Plus. Google announced today that they're shutting down Google Plus for all consumers.
I thought it was already shut down.
I think they were still like it was still like accessible and stuff. But that just goes to show you like one path can be looking like it's going to be the next big thing, while Wikipedia looked like it was going here. And
yeah, well, Google Plus, I don't think ever caught on. Like who was like, hey, follow me on Google Plus? Like nobody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was just that's what happens when you try and knock shit off and you suck at it.
It's also crazy too, because Google, to put all that money behind something, you'd think it would be successful, but I guess that goes to show like it takes more than just that.
Yeah, and I mean, it was probably would be like if they're like, oh yeah, we had 200 million people on there, like that sounds successful to me, but yeah, it probably never just took off, organically is probably what they put a lot of money and shit into, but. Yeah.
Well, it was forced. It was like forced membership for a while.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're 53 minutes deep. I gotta go to the bank and wire some shit.
Nice.
Gotta do that by 1. It's 12 o'clock now. The wire cutoff time. This is crazy that I have to go do that and pay like $50.
It's weird that there isn't a better solution. Well, we needed the other stuff. Like wire was the only thing people accepted it by.
Yeah.
But it's like,
and people bitch about that stuff, but it's really like, I mean, I could send through like PayPal and stuff like that, but to do like bank to bank, like that's why I don't think that cryptocurrency necessarily will ever just rip, because why would the fuck would you want, $500,000 worth of Bitcoin? That is scary as shit to me. Like, it's scary in a sense, like, somebody could, imagine when it gets to the point where everybody has, some form of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin most likely. Like, it's going to get to a point where, like, people are going to get their whole fucking life savings and everything stolen, in a blink of the eye because it's theoretically kind of untraceable. I mean, like,
that's the point
I could put $500,000 on a little ass flash drive, and if somebody took that drive, I'm literally fucked and lost all my money. It's like carrying around a $500,000 bill is basically what it is. Like, you would be so. I remember being younger, and you somehow you know, your grandma gave you $100 or something, and like you're like, holy shit, like this is fucking crazy, you know, and you were like just so scared that something would happen to that $100. You'd look at it every day, make sure it's still
in your
there.
pocket like this.
Yeah, like you'd be like scared about it because you just thought at the time you thought that was $1 million. Like that's how crypto is, and I've had large sums of money in places, and I was scared as shit the whole time. The 100% like, and there are ways for people to like get around, like, you know,
Private
two-factor authentication and like so it's scary. And so if you're listening to this thing about, I do not have any crypto anymore, so don't fuck with my shit because you're not going to find any crypto. If I did, I have a, what is it, Trezor, whatever the fucking thing is, in a safe, but it has no money on it. So good luck, cunts. So I can say that. I can say cunts.
What are you gonna title this thing?
What should we call it?
We talked about the MMA thing at the start, then we talked about flag football, then we talked about something, then we talked about Elon Musk.
Let's just put what's something that just doesn't. We talked about a lot. Godly New York.
Yeah.
And we don't want to title around Burns or Jimmy. Let's see. Something to do with the UFC stuff. Let's call it. Fuck, I'm stumped right now. It's just something quick and easy. What the fuck did we talk about?
Conor McGregor hates racists.
No, fuck. I don't want to. What did we talk about? We talked about flag football. That we talked about
when talking shit goes wrong.
Yeah, or let's just say play on words. Let's just say that. Whatever. Play on words. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Colby Kyle out, and fuck the leaders of the free world rookies.
I thought you said Alitas. I was like, what did she do to you?
What you got going on? You got daddy duty, kitty duty?
Yeah, in a little bit, but I got a little bit of time if you want to do hit me up about that little FB stuff.
I'll add you to that.
Okay, hit me. End this thing. I'm gonna go probably eat something downstairs, then run back upstairs while you go to the bank.
Toodles. Bye.
Bye.